considered the celebration of anyone's birth to be a pagan custom. The ancient Greeks, for instance, believed that each person had a protective spirit that attended a person's birth and therefore watched over him. That spirit had a mystic relation with the God on whose birthday the individual was born, says the book The Lore of Birthdays. Birthdays also have a long-standing and an intimate link with astrology and the horoscope. Besides rejecting birthday customs on account of pagan and spiritistic roots, God's servants of old likely rejected them on principle as well. Why? These were humble, modest men and women who did not view their arrival in the world as so important that it should be celebrated. Rather, they glorified Jehovah and thanked him for the precious gift of life.
Thank you for reading that, Andrew. And the question says, how did early Christians view birthday celebrations?
Well, they considered it pagan, so they rejected it.
Very good. And why did they do this? What was more important to them?
They were humble, so they wanted to glorify Jehovah instead of celebrating.
You're right. And do you see that box there, Holy Days and Satanism?
Mm-hmm.
So let's read that, and I'll read that. It says, it is of interest to note that the most important day in the religion called Satanism is one's birthday. Why? Because Satanists hold that each individual is a god if he chooses to view himself as one. Thus, to celebrate one's own birthday is to celebrate the birth of a god. Of course, most people do not take such an extreme egotistical view. Nevertheless, the book The Lore of Birthdays states, other holidays lift the heart, but birthdays warm the ego.
Wait, what does ego mean?
It's like self-admiration.
So it's like loving yourself?
Yeah. To put an example, what does a football player do after they score a touchdown?
They will cheer on themselves.
You're right. So when they score, they make it about themselves so they can get all the attention.
I get it now, so it's like the opposite of being humble.
Yeah, you're right. Well, let's turn to the Bible and read Micah 6:8. And can you please read that?
He has told you, O man, what is good, and what is Jehovah requiring of you, only to exercise justice, to cherish loyalty, and to walk in modesty with your God.
Thank you. So from this scripture, we see that Jehovah wants us to be what?
Wants us to be humble.
So if we celebrate birthdays, making the day about ourselves and not being humble, who are we going against?
Well, we're going against Jehovah, but is eating the cake and singing the song back too?
Well, when you sing, you're being part of the celebration, right? And it's the same thing as the cake. So we want to stay away from those things because they're all associated with the celebration. But yeah, you're right. If we celebrate birthdays, we are going against Jehovah. And so I'll read the next paragraph in the box. And it says, the next most holy days on Satan's calendar are Walpurgis Night and Halloween. Merriam-Webster's Collegiate Dictionary defines the former as the eve of May Day, on which witches are held to ride to an appointed rendezvous. So Andrew, would we be pleasing Jehovah if we celebrated birthday?
No, because as we learn in the footnote, those celebrations come from Satan, not from Jehovah. But I have another question. What is Walpurgis Night?
Well, I didn't know what it was either, but before the study, I actually looked it up on jtv.org, and I found out that it is the night where they light bonfires to scare away witches and evil spirits.
So it has something to do with Halloween.
Yeah, it's something like that. So Andrew, why don't you think the early Christians celebrated this holiday?
Well, just like the birthdays, these celebrations are from Satan as well, not from Jehovah.
You're right. So in reality, should we be celebrating these birthdays? These holidays, I mean?
No, but before it was hard for me because all my classmates would celebrate their birthdays and I felt left out. And when the kids would ask me why I was celebrating, I didn't know what to say. But now that I see I'm not missing out because I'm making Jehovah happy.
You're right, Andrew, and I'm proud that you avoided the celebrations at your school. And you're right, as young people in Jehovah's organizations, we have a lot to be grateful for. And also in the new world, we'll be able to enjoy so much more.
Also now when kids ask me why I don't celebrate, I know what to say.
You're right, now you can explain it, and you can also witness to them in school. And so you get everything now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So now let's move on to paragraph 12, and I'll read that.
I heard a ping. Jimmy. Good job. You did it right on time. There you go. He's got it. So you did it exactly. I gotta say something, Brother Robinson. I know you scheduled these parts. That was great. That was so nice. It was so good because we always see the adults doing the Bible studies, but to see the young ones to do that tonight, wow. And just what you were doing, Brother Vargas, you were doing this study with this young person, and he's laughing, my son, right? So you were working when it has to, with council point number 41, understandable to others, right? It says here, the easier your material is to understand, the more fully the audience will benefit from it. And you had to give this study, you had to talk about something that young ones enjoy doing today, right? Which is holidays, and especially the birthdays. But you did it in a way that you reached them, and you see it yourself. So once you have a study, you can do the same thing with another young person. I'm sure you've done it too. So it mentions here too, when you speak or do any type of presentation, make it in a way that the person finds like an endeavor, something good that you want to share with them and they want to apply it. And you did that tonight. Great timing, great way of putting out that presentation. Once again, I'd like to thank you too, and thank the rest who had their parts this evening. Excellent job to each and every one of you. This concludes this part of the meeting. Let's move on now to the Living as Christians. And for that, I'd like to invite you to please stand and let's sing together song number 44.